Popular streamer IShowSpeed. I don't watch his shit because that's that kid stuff. But a lot of the, I'm sorry, my Michael's way over here. Popular streamer IShowSpeed. I don't really watch his stuff, but a lot of kids and young people do. I was watching a video on Twitter, a clip of his father explaining to him the difference between an African American and a Black American. First, I want to say shout out to the father for even bringing it up. But what I want to do is bring clarity on the difference on how, because a lot of you out there don't really know how, it's hard to explain because we've been taught so long what an African American is versus a Black American. So what I want to do today is give everybody a way to say it that's more clear, direct, and to the point. Not to draw divisiveness, but to acknowledge the division that's already there. You got to start with the world you live in, not the world you want. I only deal in the world that we live in. The ideal world, that'll come at some point. But we got to deal with the world as it is. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about this back and forth between Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. I'm not gonna go too far into it. I don't care about either artist. They're both sorry. They're both full of shit. They both bring in bad music. They're both the highest expression of mediocrity in music. I won't sit here and go back and forth with anybody in the chat room saying, well, at least Nicki Minaj, she can rap, right? Yeah, she can rap, but rap about what? A bunch of degeneracy and bullshit. Cardi B is just a less talented version of her bullshit. So we're going to talk about these two, and then we might even read a little bit of their cards just to see why they go at it the way they do. But that's a tether war, Nicki Minaj versus Cardi B. And the industry brought in these less than talented non-Black Americans. Now they done got perched up and propped up. Now they're at each other's neck because the industry decided to move on from Nicki Minaj, and the industry decided to stop giving her all of the access, and she's jealous that Cardi B now has the access that she once had. Neither of them belong anywhere near the ears of our girls and young women. So we're going to talk about that. So that's what we about to do. But before we get talking about that, we're going to be back in about 30 seconds. You dig? Let's talk about it both. Let's talk about it. Both of these topics today tie in to one another. Both topics tie in together. All the two different situations, one common bond. So what we about to do is about to get to it. Let me go and play some backing music. Before I get started, welcome chat room. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for joining. And what I need y'all to do is watch Watch out for Incense and Ashtrays, my other channel. Look at my other channel, incenseandashtrays.com. Incense and Ashtrays at Incense and Ashtrays over on YouTube and all that other good shit. You dig? I'm over here trying to get an image to put up. I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use this image. Hold on. But go over to incenseandashtrays.com and at Incense and Ashtrays here on YouTube. Go check out my interview with Miss Berta Bell. I want to get that channel up to monetization, so I need y'all to watch that. And also watch my original documentary on Black American music history on that channel, Incense and Ashtrays. If you haven't seen my first mini doc on the Black American music family tree, go look that up at Incense and Ashtrays right now. At least subscribe to it right now. Put that video on the play next if you haven't seen it yet. But in the meantime, kick it with me until we get done talking what we talking about. What's up, everybody in the chat? Can't say what's up to everybody because I kind of know. I kind of want to get right to what I got to say. This is fresh on my mind. Appreciate the super chat, Landon. These are basically third world ex-workers, right? Y'all stupid. But what's up, everybody in the chat? I'm not going to go through everybody's name. But what's up? Equally to everybody that's in here. And if you're in here just a troll, fuck you. Everyone else, welcome. So anyway, let's start out with African American or Black American. That starts with this video. I'm about to show y'all this video right here. And from this video, we are going to talk about it.
Okay.
What?
This is
My grandma.
This is streamer IShowSpeed's.
What? You're black?
And his father talking about the difference between black and African. Let's go.
What? You're black?
Okay.
What?
My grandma.
Yo, okay.
My grandmother was born 1910 in America. Her mother was born 1875 in America. Come on, man.
Bro, what? He tripping, bro. You tripping.
There's no African
tripping.
ties like that, dude.
You tripping.
And you're born in America, that's African American.
What?
No,
that means you're African.
No, you're African American because you're in America.
No.
Oh my God.
I thought y'all said
If you have
stop talking about this.
If you
No,
have, no.
If both parents are African and they have a child in America,
They're African.
they're African American.
All right.
That child.
Okay.
Because that birth certificate is in America. It's not in Africa.
I guess.
Yeah.
I thought you said I wasn't gonna get too deep into this. Like, what?
All right.
It is.
I think I'm right.
No. That's the definition of African American.
Listen.
That's the definition of African American.
No. The definition of an African American is it goes back. It goes way back.
No, man.
It goes way back.
I don't
It's a
associate with Africa though.
Right, because
So how can I be African American? I have no association.
Because you are African American. Two parents from Africa.
My mom ain't from Africa.
Exactly.
My mama from America.
Exactly.
My mom from Detroit.
Exactly.
So she's American.
Right, but you just said two African parents.
Two African parents that have a kid in America, that's African American.
All right.
Or you got an African mother and an American father, that's African American.
That's African American. That's African American.
No, but if you're born here,
But if you saying
if you have African parents and you're born in America, you're African American. Because your birth is here, but your parents' descent are African. But you're born in America. I like to be in America. Okay, for me in America. Everything free in America.
So let's break this down. First off, salute to IShowSpeed's dad for at least attempting to explain the difference. Here's where he went wrong. He was right in what he said. But when he said that, this is what a lot of people say, I have no association with Africa. Let's listen to this part right here.
There's no African ties like that, dude.
You tripping.
And you're born in America, that's African American.
What?
If yo,
that means you're African.
No, you're African American because you're in America.
No.
Oh my God.
I thought y'all said
If you have
stop
okay,
talking about this.
If you have no.
If both parents are African and they have a child in America,
They're African.
they're African American.
All right.
That child.
Okay.
Because that birth certificate is in America. It's not
He's right. Elon Musk is African American. People who migrate from Africa directly to America, that is most definitely an African American if we're going to be consistent with what the Latino, what the Asian American is, or what the Japanese American is. People who have ties to that other continent first to America. That's where he's right.
not in Africa.
I guess.
Yeah.
I thought you said I wasn't gonna get too deep into this.
All right.
It is.
I think I'm right.
No. That's the definition of African American.
Listen.
That's the definition of an African American.
No. The definition of an African American is it goes back. It goes way back.
No, man.
It goes way back.
I don't associate with Africa though.
Right there. I don't associate with Africa though. This part of the conversation right here is the most important of the whole 3-minute exchange. This right here.
American is it goes back. It goes way back.
No, man.
It goes way back.
In a lot of ways, they're both right and they're both wrong. Speed is a youngster. He was educated or indoctrinated by the American school system, by American media. And American media constantly portrays us as African American because they say that we came on slave ships hundreds of years ago. And that's what he means by it goes back. It goes back. He's going by the definition of what he was taught through the school system and the education system. I don't blame him. I see some people that was in the chat earlier saying, well, he should know. No. We got to have compassion on our youth. We can't, those of us in our 30s and our 40s and higher, we got to be less judgmental towards our youth and more teaching. Like the reason why there's such a major disconnect between black adults and black youth is black adults be acting like they always knew who the fuck they was and they always knew this. No, you didn't, nigga. Have compassion on the youngsters. And you teach the youngsters. You educate the youngsters. You cultivate the minds of the youngsters. You don't criticize the youngsters because they not where you at, nigga, and you in your 50s. Okay? So this is a young man that's responding to the indoctrination system he's been under his whole life. And you are, as a person, when you learn something new, you get what's called cognitive dissonance. When you learn new information. And when you thought you knew something, the initial action is disruption, which sometimes leads to anger. That's a natural reaction to new information. So when we're dealing with youngsters, we inform them. We don't criticize them. We put them up on game. We don't act like they should have been knowing the whole time. That's our job to do. Okay? So he's right based off of how he was taught. And when you listen, not only how you taught, Listen to Lewis. Think about the scholars. Whether you listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson, Henry Louis Gates, I'm talking about the mainstream scholars you hear. The people that's on TV, whether Oprah, the media pundits, the scholars, they all say African American because we came from Africa a long time ago. We gotta have patience because it's our job as the adults to help the youngsters unlearn. And Speed's father is doing a great job of being patient and trying to teach him. It's just that certain words he's using is not making it certain. It's kind of what he's saying is right, but it's not rooted. And here's the part I want to tell you about right here. This part he says right here.
I don't associate with Africa though.
When he stops it at, I don't associate with Africa. We don't associate with Africa like that, but that's not what it's about. It's not about whether or not we associate with Africa. It's not about that at all. That's irrelevant whether or not you associate with Africa. The reason why you're not African American is because if you went through slavery here in America, you've been on this land at least 200 years. Most of us a hell of a lot longer. But I'm going to split the difference and say, okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate and I'm going to go with those who say we came here on slave ships 200-300 years ago. Okay, that's not all the way true, but let's play devil's advocate and say it is. Okay, fine. Even if that were true, when you've been somewhere more than 3 generations, you're that now. And most of us can trace our lineage back at least 5 generations. Most of us 10. I could trace mine back 22 generations. Names, addresses, dates they were born, dates they died, what they did when they was living. I could trace all that shit back. My great granddaddy was a stone mason in the late 1800s, early 1900s. He was a stone mason, and he made a lot of the stone buildings in Benton Harbor, Michigan. My great granddaddy is the one that put a lot of those buildings up. His daddy comes from Roberts, Indiana, born in 1869, a free man. His daddy, Kendrick Johnson, was born in 1835 as a slave in Milwaukee. Not a slave. He was born free, put into slavery, and then freed himself and moved to Milwaukee and married a German woman in 1868. I can keep going back, but that's neither here nor there. When you can take your family lineage back on this land, you're now that land. That's the reason why Europeans don't call themselves European Americans. The reason why Europeans don't call themselves European Americans unless they're fresh here from France, fresh here from Germany, fresh here from Italy or wherever they come from, unless they're fresh here, they don't call themselves European Americans. Why? Because to call themselves a European American will be to disinherit them from this land. And the fact is, a lot of your Irish, Germans, and Dutch, they call themselves American, the Ellis Island motherfuckers. Black Americans have been in the United States of America as long as white people and longer. We can show a date when they came here. 1619, 1607, 1532 with the Spanish. There is no start date for when people who are now classified as black or African American came here. There is no start date. There's no date. There's no century. Now you could say the slave trade started in the 1500s with the Spanish and the 1600s with the with the Nordics. You could say that. But there were already people here, and that's already been acknowledged by science. By Christopher Columbus, when he went over there, by Ben Franklin in his letters in 1751, talking about the color and the complexion of the people that were already here upon the arrival of the European. Webster's Dictionary, 1828. What is an American? The copper-colored individuals of those found here in America up on the arrival of the European. That's an actual quote from the Webster's Dictionary, year 1828, about what an American is. When you call yourself African American, you disinherit what you built here in America. Here's why that's important. There was no thing called the United States of America before 1776. And 99.9% of y'all that experienced slavery, your family was here before 1776. This place wasn't even called that. Something else. You were here before this shit was named. So how in the hell are you an African and you was here before this shit was even called the United States of America? You was here when it was 13 colonies. I saw my family being here in the colony of Virginia as early as 1635. That's a whole 150 goddamn years before this place was called the United States of America. Okay? You get a whole different relationship with this land when you know you were here before it was even named what it's named now. See, when you're African American, you're okay with people coming in and getting benefits because, hey, we're all immigrants, right? So you don't mind joining the Democrat Party and saying, hey, I don't care if these immigrant groups get all this stuff. We're all immigrants, aren't we? Yeah. It's a mind fuck. A mind fuck is what it is. It is a mind fuck. And we've been fucked. A lot. So now we go through the process of unlearning. Yeah, even when you read the books, it's a constant mission of unlearning. Even when you're a scholar like me and you read Up on These Shores, I love this book, Up on These Shores. But all through the book, you're going to hear African American, African American, African American, African American. And as I'm reading this, and this is a great book, by the way. It's still a great book in spite of the African shit. This here, the book called The Domestic Slave, this book was written in 1817. And it talks about the slaves that were moved around within the country. And if this book was written in 17 and they're still using African American, anybody who comes, just say these people came in 1817. We in 2025, that's more than 200 years ago. At what point are you American? What we got to know is our miseducation system, in order to get these books printed through these small hat printing presses, you got to play the game. You got to connect Black American lineage to Africa. If you want to be like Henry Louis Gates and get all of that money from donations from founders, you got to play the game. You got to play the reclassification game. It takes you as a reader, as a listener, to be intelligent enough to decipher and break it down and ask the right questions. Because when I read this, and they're talking about the first Africans arrived in Jamestown, 1619, 1620. That's 400 years ago. Are they still Africans? You're an American because you built this place. The reason why, here, let me tell you why you're an American. Because as slaves weren't just laborers. Slaves were also musicians. They were entertainers. They were engineers. They covered the gamut. And as slaves, we invented things like the cotton gin. The cotton gin turned America into a super economy. We gotta understand slavery existed all around the world. Slavery existed all around the world. What's the difference between American slaves and non-American slaves? Oh, Brian Tucker, I appreciate the super chat. What's the difference? The difference is the slaves here in America invented the cotton gin. And when the cotton gin was invented, it pushed the American economy ahead of everyone else's economy. They got cotton in Africa. They got cotton all across this goddamn planet. Why did American cotton move past everybody? The American invented the cotton gin. That's why. Black Americans invented the light bulb. When it comes to our inventions, we talk a lot about our inventions, but we rarely talk about the cause and effect relationship between what our inventions did to push us ahead, to push the United States economy ahead of the world's economy. We invent the light bulb after slavery. What does a light bulb do? It allows work to happen 24 hours a day versus just 12 hours a day doing daylight hours. So now, when you can work 24 hours a day, you could be more efficient than other countries. We invented the telegraph, the fax machine, the phone. When you can fax information from DC to New York instead of a 24-hour pony ride where you put a message in a goddamn bottle and give it to a pigeon, when you can just fax it to somebody, you can now communicate faster. And when you communicate faster, you can get things done more efficiently. When factories in Ohio could communicate with New York through a fax, through a phone call. Now, New York financiers that are putting the money up for the operations, the labor in the South, the labor in the Midwest, now you just connected the whole country. The reason why the United States was able to expand coast to coast is a lot of ways because of the communication. When a Black American invents the refrigerated truck, now meat that's slaughtered in California can make it to Florida because it's refrigerated now and not packed in salt. Makes it more efficient. There's a cause and effect relationship between what we created on this land and what made the United States what it is. Everybody had slaves. Our slaves were just a little bit smarter. And that's no disrespect to anybody else. This is just a fact. Okay? Just a fact. Based on the inventions. I'm basing that on the inventions on what we created and continue to create. Out of slavery, what do? We create the home security system. We create, when it comes to driving, we didn't create the car, although we did create cars. But what did we do? We made driving easier because we invented the light bulb. You still got places around the world where they ain't got no lights. People take this shit for granted. Look at India. You see all them slumdog cars going all throughout India. Not one goddamn traffic light. We are the efficiency of this country. We invented the running toilet. So our cities and neighborhoods don't smell like shit. In Nigeria, they still shit in the streets. And you're saying we're the same? We have a certain level of decorum and cleanliness that's about us. We invented the street sweeper. All of these inventions play a role in expanding the American economy. We invented the elevator. So what happens when you invent elevators? Now you no longer need buildings no longer top out at 4 feet. I mean, not 4 feet, 4 stories. Now you can build all those skyscrapers in New York, in Chicago. You can build those skyscrapers because a black person invented an elevator to get you up there. We enjoy these luxuries in America, not because these luxuries existed before there was an America. No, we enjoy these luxuries because we invented these things here. That goes into the people that be like, California used to be Mexico. Yeah, for 27 years, California was Mexico, yeah. So, what would have happened? And California, America, not only beat their ass in the war to take it, America spent money. Was it $15 an acre? Let me check. How much did America buy Mexico for? I think it was $15 an acre. The gas and purchase was for $15 million. That's what it was. They bought Mexico for $15 million. If you take money and you get a receipt, if I take money and give you a receipt, is it still yours? It ain't our fault that they took a bad deal. They should have got their military up. They should have demanded more money. They got paid. So you can't come 200 years later and say, well, this was Mexico. No, nigga, they got the money. It's not Mexico anymore. Point number 2, when it comes to the whole, is this Mexico thing? Fine. If California was still Mexico, would they have the Golden Gate Bridge? Would they have Hollywood? Would the Port of Long Beach be what it is? Okay, it's Mexico, fine. If you think about it, the land of actual Mexico is the best land in the Western Hemisphere. The United States is not as good of a land as Mexico as far as what the mineral resources. Mexico got the mineral resources. They got all the shit that we got up here and better weather. If California was still Mexico, it would be just like how Mexico is now. Would they have high-rise buildings? Would downtown LA be there? No. What we now know is California got built up basically in the 1900s. You can go back to the 1800s, the gold rush. You got your missions. But California was an open swath of land. The 1900s, when the United States of America decided to move auto industry jobs out here. When the United States of America decided to move aerospace engineering and train building and airplane building and Hollywood and the music industry, all fruits of the United States of America that were moved to California, the tech industry after World War II, Hewlett Packard and all those guys up in the Bay Area. It was the moves the United States made that we were not only the labor, but also the brains behind. It's that made California what it is. That made New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada. If Mexico still, if Nevada was still Mexico, would we have Vegas? Hell no. All things we know as California, Nevada, Arizona were all things that were built and put in after this place became the United States of America. You can't sit south of the border and be chilling, minding your own business while we over here making this shit pop, while we over here making this shit work and do what it do, and then come over here 200 years later and be like, well, you know now this was Mexico. Well, where the fuck was you at when we was building this shit then? Hey, Tom Jones, the plumbing system in the United States was created by black Americans, you fucking idiot. If it was an English courier and an English invention, why in the hell was they still shitting in goddamn in them castles and getting Lyme's disease and all that stuff as recently as 200 years ago? You fucking idiot. And it was the Moors that had a toilet system. But the Moorish toilet system was not the United States of America. That shit didn't come from England. It started here. Yeah, the Southwest region grew with the invention of air conditioning. You right about that? And who invented that? See, these are the kind of things that you got to ask yourself and you got to talk about. And a lot of Europeans did make some stuff here in America. We didn't invent everything. We invented most of it, but we didn't invent everything. A lot of California's economy was boosted after World War II when all of Operation Paperclip, when all of German scientists came over here and they filled up the Silicon Valley, Laguna Beach, and the Pacific Palisades. Because it was the German engineers that made the jet engine. The freeway is a German thing. That all came to California after World War II. Again, this is nothing that had nothing to do with Mexico. So none of that shit was here. Now we done did all this building this shit up. We done connected a whole railroad system from the East Coast to the West. General Allensworth cleared out the Sequoia region in the 1880s for the United States. All that work was done just for some of you dumb niggas to come and say, well, this used to be Mexico. Well, okay, let's give it back to Mexico and take everything that we invented with us. And let's see how this shit lasts. I'll wait. You're right about that, my address. California didn't start going down the drain until Reagan popped them gates open. You're right about that. See, they don't want us to have these conversations because now we got to talk about the impact. Yeah, Mexico's younger than the United States, right? So, in chat room, all these people arguing, mods, don't kick them out. leave them in here because the more facts I drop on these people, the more they little bussies hurt. This pisses them off. And I want them to keep getting pissed off. But this is a major thing when it comes to African versus Black American versus people of why we have to draw these lines of distinction. We got to draw these lines of distinction because we got to have everybody line up and show their contributions to the thing, and what this is. Okay, Mexico. Okay, y'all California. Oh, because we picked the cherries. Okay, take you cherry pickers away. America had no issues picking cherries before Mexicans came here. It's just that Americans weren't gonna pick them for that cheap. All you did was undercut the price of wages and make it to where these billionaires become trillionaires. You just made more money for the people who own the shit. If Americans were still out in those fields, we'd have a more equitable thing. And you wouldn't have one person worth $20 billion and the next million people making less than $50,000 a year. That's how you get these wealth disparities, when you're constantly bringing in new people to undercut the price of wages. Chat room. Who was around back in the 90s and the 80s? Do y'all remember back in the 90s and the 80s? People who worked at grocery stores could own a house. Press number 1 if you remember that. Press number 1 if you remember when fast food jobs was for teenagers, and if you went and no college degree, and you were a checkout person at Ralph's, Kroger, you made enough money to buy a house. Press number 1 if you remember that. What happened? Why is it fast food jobs now go to grown-ass immigrants with 5 kids? You know what that does? It takes away the work ethic from our teens. Instead of our teens getting work permits at 15 and getting their first job at McDonald's, Taco Bell, to learn a work ethic, to learn what it's like to become a great employee later on, they don't get that. Our youth don't get that opportunity no more because you got a grown-ass immigrant making $2 an hour when that kid should be getting $7 an hour. And then the grocery store workers, they've all been undercut. Now you work at a grocery store, you making basically the same as the people that work in fast food. That's what happens when you bring in new people to undercut wages. Now a grocery store worker can't afford a house when they could just 20 years ago. Just 30 years ago, you could work a whole lifetime bagging groceries and buy a fucking house. That's the cost of immigration. And then America likes to jerk these people off and say, well, you help America run. Yeah, you help people go from being worth $100 million to being worth $3 or $4 billion. There was nobody on Earth worth no goddamn $50 billion. Not on Earth. It was families, of course. But there were no people like no Jeff Bezos or no Elon Musk. There wasn't nobody walking around worth no goddamn $30 and $40 billion 20 years ago. You have, remember, it was like, forever, it was like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. They were all worth like $10, $20 billion, $30 billion. And all the other billionaires may have been worth $5 or $6 billion. And it was a whole bunch of 100 millionaires. How did we now get these people who are now worth $100 billion, $200 billion? Undercutting the price of labor. Because when you undercut the price of labor, the money shoots to the top. That's why this delineation thing is so important. That's why calling ourselves Black Americans Negro Americans, freedmen Americans, FBA Americans, anything that puts the United States of America at the front of your lineage. You don't put no other landmass at the front of your lineage when you're responsible for building all that shit. Because it disinherits you from what's yours, from what your granddaddy created, your great granddaddy. Salute to IShowSpeed's dad. Only thing I would do is change it up. Is like when he said associate. It's not about associating. It's about no. I don't care if you associate or not. You built it. You created it. So salute to him. He's a youngster. IShowSpeed's a youngster, man. He'll get it. He just got hit with some shit that he wasn't ready for. Hell, his dad, look, we as black Americans, we weren't talking like this 10, 15 years ago. We weren't. Let's just tell the truth. We really started talking like this since Obama got, since Trump got in office the first time. It was something about the last couple of years of Obama's presidency. I would say we've been talking this probably since the last year and a half of Obama's presidency. It was something about them last 2 years of year and a half of Obama's presidency that made us realize that, yo, we probably not gonna get nothing out of this whole black president thing. We was all excited 08, 09, 10. Hell, we was halfway excited when we re-elected him. 2012, we was like, okay, cool. Obama's second term, something gonna happen. Something gonna pop off. And we had to see the LGBTQ get theirs, immigrants get theirs, the tech industry get theirs. So the last year or two of his presidency, we was all like, we might have been duped. And somebody like a Speed grew up in that environment. And that's those of us who were on this shit in 2014, 15 were ahead of the curve. More, and we're still the minority. Let's make no qualms about it. Those of us who say we're not African, we are still the minority. Most black people are still just going to go with what they said. That's just how it is. Only difference is, I think we have reached a critical mass. Critical mass isn't the majority, but critical mass gets it to where once the critical mass continues to go, it is snowballing, and at some point before 2030, if you ask me, it'll become the majority. I think those of us that talk like this will be the majority by 2030. But right now, it's still snowballing. It's still there. It's still going. So you have a lot of adults who are just now getting on code with that, who may have been teaching the youth something different 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago. You dig? So it's our job, those of us who are on code, to give the wording and the messaging to the people who are just really getting on code, getting on this. Help them. Don't judge them. Help them with love if they want to know. Now, if they just been a difficult coon, then fuck them. Don't spend no time with no coon, somebody just running around trying to coon. Don't do that. Don't do that. But if they showing like they really want to know, help them out. Help them out. Because we were all lied to. And we've been lied to multi-generationally. You dig? And all of this goes in to the talk about this whole tether war, Nicki Minaj versus Cardi B. I want to start off with this video. Let me go into my Instagram. I think I inboxed myself this video on Instagram. Black Americans are As Black Americans, we are under replacement. They're trying their best to replace us. And I say trying. All right, sorry, I had to inbox. I'm getting on stage tonight. I had to inbox the people the show. I'm getting ready for Saturday at the Hidden History Museum. We're gonna be cracking them jokes Saturday at the Hidden History Museum. Let me see if I hold on. I thought I inboxed myself that. Oh no, I hope what is that video? Ah shit. Is it in my story? Here it is. Let me send this to my inbox so I can play it for y'all. We as Black Americans are under replacement. And they're doing it in the NBA right now. That's why Russell Westbrook, at this moment in time, is still not signed to a roster. They're pushing us out. They've been doing it in music, really since 2010. It started to get real heavy around 2010, when right up under our nose, when the class of Drake, Nicki Minaj, when that whole class of crew started coming in, Rihanna. They tried it with Estelle before Rihanna. Take me to New York, I love to see LA. She just never had another follow-up hit to that. I really want to come kick it with you. You'll be my American boy. Stupid ass song, although it got a great ass beat. Anyway, what they've done with us is they've been slowly moving us out of our own music and putting Bruno Mars in, The Weeknd. And they did it with Nicki Minaj and then later on her replacement, Cardi B. Nicki Minaj has been a player from day one. And I don't want to hear none of you. I want you. I'm not even looking at the chat. I'm just saying it without even looking at the chat. I'm pretty sure somebody said it already. I'm pretty sure somebody said, well, she can really rap though. Rapping black people come a dime a dozen. That don't mean nothing. You can walk down the street and find 10 talented black rappers. 3 of them are going to be women. Why did she get chosen? Well, she got chosen because she rapped about degeneracy and bullshit and service level nonsense. Nicki Minaj was brought in to corrupt the minds of our young women through her being rewarded with basically being a slut puppy. And, you know, she has a whole bunch of family around her that got questionable pasts, rape accusations and stuff like that. So not only does she bring that, look at who she's married to. Look at her family. She grew up in a cesspool of degeneracy based on the stories being told about her. I don't know, I wasn't there. Just based on her, you can judge somebody by their environment. Nicki Minaj grew up in a cesspool of degeneracy. She lives in a cesspool of degeneracy. So her music is a cesspool of degeneracy. When black women rappers when black women were the face of women rap, MC Lyte, Queen Latifah, UNITY, just another day, you had Yo-Yo and Rage, skilled women. Roxanne Shante, Salt and Pepper, JJ Fad, who can make good music, the Brat. All of these women made great music without being a fucking degenerate. They make great music without being degenerates. You still have women making great music without being degenerates. Rhapsody, No Name, to name a few, making great music without being degenerates. They brought in this tether to bring in degeneracy. And why do I call her a tether? I call her a tether because of her depictions of Malcolm X, her depictions of Martin Luther King. I call her a tether because when Michael B. Jordan created that Juve liquor, she said that that's an issue with her. He was going at Caribbean heritage. She went real fast to go defend her Trinidadian Caribbean heritage when she thought that Michael B. Jordan was going to make some money off of a Caribbean name. She drew that line up real fast. But because she's around so much degeneracy and the Hollywood decided, or not Hollywood, the music industry decided to move on, they decided to bring in this stripper who's famous for talking about drugging men and taking their money. A reality TV star that speaks like a 6-year-old. Can't rap, can't write. Not professional enough to at least go on tour before you have a second baby by a second dude. At least be professional enough. You see they pumping you up about to release your new album. You can't wait so you can be in line and ready for this tour? Coming off your new album? Not professional. Throwing microphones at people. And she's replacing Nicki Minaj as the American immigrant hoe. As the degenerate of music. And Nicki Minaj feels some sort of way. Nicki Minaj feels some sort of way going at Cardi B. Yesterday they were on Twitter going back and forth. Arguing with each other, catfighting. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. When the fact of the matter is, we shouldn't know who neither of these hoes are. We shouldn't know neither one. But music industry is just like everything else. It's just like the lowriders. We create it. We get it hot. We get it popular. And these white folks that run shit cannot help themselves but to try to erase us from our inventions and our creations, and they give them to other people. The thing is, they used to only give it to white artists. And then in the 60s, they started giving it to the British artists, the British invasions. They gave it to the Bee Gees in the 70s, from Australia. They've always given our music to new groups to America. Problem is, there are less Europeans coming to America now and more people of Asian and Latin descent coming here. So in order to make them feel like they're American, Caribbean descent, African descent, America has now said, okay, we're going to X the black people out. And we're going to start giving it to the people that look like them. The black adjacents. And when we're ready, we can pull the plug and get somebody new in here. And that's what happened to Nicki Minaj when Cardi B came around. They had enough of her antics. Let's pull the plug and let's bring in a new degenerate. I want y'all to watch this video right here I'm about to play. From Madison Rose, an artist. She's about to talk about her experience in the room, in the writing room, in the executive offices of these music companies.
Star.
Let me. There we go.
Star really flourish and really be a star, but there's a reason why I say that.
Wait, no, I gotta start it. I gotta start it back. I gotta start it back. Got it from the beginning.
I'm not sure that America is ready to let a black pop star really flourish and really be a star. But there's a reason why
She says America is not ready for a black artist to be a pop star. And this is her speaking from inside the writer's room. All right. I've been telling y'all this for I don't know how long, but let me get somebody who's actually done music on a high level to tell you what I've been telling y'all forever.
say that. I'm going to take you back to a label meeting that I had that honestly mirrored many label meetings that I had. I would play my songs. The record executive said, these are hits, but I don't understand your artistry. But you could sell it to insert artist here. And every single time it was insert artist here, that artist was white. So for whatever reason, my artistry, my songs was making sense if a white person was singing them. And that is where I don't know. I truly do not know, as a black pop star standing in front of you all, if America's ready for it. I don't know. The music industry is so segregated and so racist. Why do you think that we had urban categories?
Oh, this is a show I'm gonna be at tonight, right here on stage. But as you see, the black artists got to pass their music off to the white artists and also the non-whites. Bruno Mars, The Weeknd. It's all about cutting what we create. It's all about cutting down what we create. That's what it's about. Who's this coming to my back door? I gotta have that. Got that notification on when somebody come up that back door. Come anywhere near my back porch, shotgun ready. Shot, shot. Anyway. This is what it's about. So when you go around playing these games, oh, I'm African American. Oh, it's okay. That used to be Mexico anyway. We just need to come together. You are running a game on yourself. You are only hurting and harming yourself. That's what it's about. You have natural immunity. They'd rather have AI than a black face out front. That's a whole fact. They'd rather have AI than your black ass face. That's real talk, Chosen 1619. It's like we FBAs are scared to live for ourselves. That is 100% fact. It's a major fear for us standing on our own 2 feet. And here's the underlying reason for that. Overall, most black people do not feel like we're enough. We feel like we need help. We feel like we need an ally. We feel like that we are insufficient on an individual level and on a group level. And that level of inferiority, that's taught to you multi-generationally. You're taught that you're inferior, directly and indirectly. directly and indirectly. You're taught that. That's the reason. Remember, everything, there's a cause and effect relationship to everything. If somebody's not explaining to you the cause and effect relationship, they bullshitting you. The cause and effect relationship that's why they don't teach about Benjamin Banneker being the scientist that made America what it is. From his designing of Washington, D.C., to his farmer's almanac, to his perfection of the clock. They don't talk to you about Benjamin Banneker. They don't talk to us. When you see these TV commercials talking about great inventors, y'all ever notice? When America talks about the greatest minds in America, they'll talk to you about Tesla and they'll talk to you about Einstein. Two people who weren't Americans. Einstein never solved his own goddamn problem, E equals MC squared. But during that same time, you had a man that existed and lived named George Washington Carver, who helped create the assembly line for Ford Motor Company, making Ford the most efficient car company in the world, because that black mind, George Washington Carver, designed the assembly line, and through studying a plant and watching how a plant distributed its resources, created a manufacturing line to make these cars go and get made faster. Again, the American economy. Germany, other parts of the world made cars, but because of a black invention, America could make 10 cars, could make 30 cars in the time it took everybody else to make one car. Assembly line held 100 cars to one. America could make 100 cars to one over an invention a black man had, George Washington Carver. But they'll tell you about Einstein and Nikola Tesla. America was about to lose World War II. We were literally about to lose World War II because Germany had, for the most part, gotten all of the rubber gated out, and America couldn't get access to rubber. So America needed an additive to go in to stretch the current rubber, that the rubber supply that America had. It had to stretch. So George Washington Carver, with his soybean that he invented and created, came in and made the additive into rubber that made it to where America no longer needed to get past Germany to get to the rubber supply. George Washington Carver made the industry of biofuel and bioengineering. George Washington Carver made plastic. We ain't even got to the peanut yet. Y'all know that man is the peanut man. I just mentioned a whole bunch of shit that one man created, and I didn't even get to the most famous invention he had, which was the multiple uses of the peanut. But that's black people. That's what's called menticide. The reason why we have an inferiority complex, the reason why we don't feel that we're enough, is because of multi-generational menticide. Unless you watch this show, you don't know it was a black man, my great-granddaddy, that invented the automatic railroad cross for a train. The world got trains. American train system is safer because of a black man's invention. Now people ain't gotta get hit by a train coming by, and you ain't gotta hire nobody to work that crossing because we invented the red light, the stoplight, and the train arm coming down. So black American inventions saved a bunch of lives, probably millions of lives saved because of systems that black Americans created. And whatever we don't create, whatever we don't invent, America puts it in our hands to show them how to use it, or anywhere else. We didn't necessarily invent the bass guitar, the 4-string bass guitar, but the 4-string bass guitar was put into a black musician's hands to show the world how to play it. We black Americans, we didn't invent the saxophone. A white man, last name Sax, I forgot his first name. He invented the saxophone in Europe in 1859. The saxophone was a defunct instrument that hardly nobody used. If it was used as part of a part of an orchestra, but never a solo instrument until Charlie Parker put his hands on the alto sax, until Lester Young, Ornette Coleman, and these people, when they put their lips on a goddamn saxophone, now it's the number one used horn instrument in the world. We didn't invent it, but we showed the world how to use it. We didn't invent the drum machine. But Sly and the Family Stone, George Clinton showed the world how to use it. We didn't invent auto-tune. But but T-Pain showed the world how to use it. So even the shit we don't invent, we show the world how to get down with it. But they don't teach you that. Now, auto-tune was not Zap. The talk box was not. It was Zap. And Zapp and Roger didn't start the talk box. Herbie Hancock was using the talk box before Roger Troutman and Zapp. A white man invented the talk box. The talk box and auto-tune are two different things, Devin. Talk box requires you put a straw in your mouth and you're playing a keyboard. And the talk box, while you sing, you're pressing the notes to tell it what to do. Talk box, you're still playing. Salute to T Nava. And he's the current talk box master. Auto-tune requires no skill. You just talk and it does everything else. Talk box, you gotta play it. Appreciate that feeling free. Appreciate the super chat. And we gotta know that even black folks before Roger Troutman was on that, Herbie Hancock was on it. This before Zapp and Roger. And you can find that on Herbie Hancock's Sunlight album. This is when he debuted that. Got it? Drum machine. Rest in peace, Sly Stone. That's a drum machine underneath with a live drummer playing on top of the drum machine. This is one of the earliest uses of the drum machine. We didn't invent the drum machine, but with songs like Family Affair by Sly and the Family Stone, Chocolate City by Parliament Funkadelic. That's a drum machine. Right? That's a drum machine. Hip-hop niggas, y'all didn't start none of this shit. We didn't invent that, but we showed the world how to use it. Gaming on ya. They don't teach us this stuff. Because the less we know about ourselves, the more we're not going to feel that we're good enough. The more we're going to feel like we need people. That's the reason why we have this behavior as a people. This isn't rocket science, folks. It's just simple cause and effect. We feel inferior. Okay, why do we feel inferior? We go through education systems and we have an entertainment and a media system that lies to us through omission. It doesn't tell us anything that we did great. And whatever we did do great, they attribed to other groups. That's why nowadays they said Mexicans did the lowriding, invented lowrider culture. They said Caribbeans created hip hop. They say that the French helped create jazz, and it ain't a goddamn thing close to France, close to jazz. Nowhere near no goddamn France. And then the things that they can't claim, like the blues and the funk, they just omit it and don't talk about it. Meanwhile, they glorify other groups. They'll say Chinese built the railroads. No, they just helped expand it west. They ain't build shit. They put other groups. They make Bruno Mars the biggest stars on the planet, and Taylor Swift, and people who ain't you. And when you get this constant reinforcement of nothing you do is right, and then when you do put us on camera, especially now, I look at that young man, IShowSpeed. I don't know, how old is Speed, chat room? How old is he? You get that young man, I know he's under 30. He's under 30. So black excellence to him is a Tyler Perry film. Think about that. When they do see black people, they see 50 Cent programming, Get Rich or Die Trying, Power, whole bunch of nigga shit with niggas in jail, either nigga in jail, going to jail, or just getting out of jail. When they do see black people, that's what they see. Chosen 1619 says people that don't realize that our music and culture is initially too advanced for non-FBAs at first and have to be dumbed down. You right about that. You right about that. So when the young folks do get black, they get 50 Cent programming. Death and degeneracy. You ready to go, Rocky? There you go. Go ahead. Rocky got tired of me screaming. He been back here asleep the whole time. when that generation does get black, it gets Nicki Minaj. Think about it, IShowSpeed. He grew up with Nicki Minaj as a representation of a black woman. He grew up with the best male black singer of his generation, Chris Brown, not even singing. This nigga's doing auto-tune, and America demonized that young man so bad. They uplifted Rihanna, and they treat Chris Brown like he ain't shit. So when you do see a black man, you get that. You get soft-ass niggas like LeBron James who's missing practice to go cut Kai Cenat's hair, who's missing a game because he has an injured ass, literally. LeBron got a dick in the booty disease right now, and that's why he missing the goddamn first week of practice, because his ass hurt. And he cut another man's hair. These are the men these kids grew up on. The love music IShowSpeed heard growing up was Drake. Think about it for us. If you my age, let's say you mid-40s like me, we grew up with TLC, beautiful black women, SWV. We grew up with Aaliyah. We grew up seeing all these fine-ass black women that can sing. We didn't need to have no niggas singing to us. Listen to the ladies. The ladies like the lady. I'm playing that for the ladies. Our parents had beautiful Shaka Khan, beautiful Whitney Houston. You know what I mean? These niggas had Drake. We had En Vogue, Shantae Moore, Jade, Toni Braxton, right? These kids didn't have that. And the biggest filmmaker of IShowSpeed's generation is Lee Daniels, where everybody's gay or a degenerate. He grew up on Lee Daniels, and what's the other? And Tyler Perry, being the two biggest filmmakers of his generation. So when you gonna go Lee Daniels, and all the women ain't gonna be shit. They're gonna be manipulative, and the dudes are gonna be just fat out degenerates. Or you can watch Tyler Perry, mediocrity. Tyler Perry got to billionaire status by making mediocre and less than mediocre films. The best Tyler Perry film is mediocre next to a Robert Townsend film. You can't put Tyler Perry at his best next to John Singleton at his best, next to the Hughes brothers at their best, next to the Hudlin brothers, Reginald Hudlin. You can't put Tyler Perry next to them. You can't put Tyler Perry next to an Eddie Murphy film. If you grew up in the 90s, we grew up in the greatest era of black cinema. To me, even greater than the blaxploitation era of the 70s. Boomerang, Strictly Business. We got to see films of progress, us moving up and doing some dope shit. IShowSpeed, his generation, got to see Tyler Perry, a man dressed as a fucking woman. Always with a light-skinned savior nigga and a dark evil nigga. So where is his representation of black excellence? The few black Americans that they let through are mediocre as hell, Tyler Perry. Look at what that generation grew up under. That's what I'm saying. You in your 30s and 40s and 50s, you ought to be ashamed of yourself if you criticize that young man for that. Look where he grew up. It's our job to help teach these youngsters. Of course, that young man isn't going to want to be associated with black. Nobody wants to be associated with a loser. That's natural. It's natural to want to be on the winning team. That's why so much of our history is covered up and quieted out. What's the solution? I'm glad you asked, because we're about to get the solutions. Cordy Smith says, we have brownstone mint condition. Yeah, more money, living color right. More money, more money, more money. What's the solution? The solution is to counteract the programming, counteract the BS with truth. That's why I'm pushing what I push. That's why I created my Black American Music Family Tree Historical Foundation. This foundation is all about teaching the history. My other channel, Incense and Ashtrays, we talking about the black roots of lowriding and music. Because you counteract menticide, you counteract the lies of omission with the truth. You don't fight people and say, you need to include me. No, nigga, you speak up. And these are solutions. And when you speak up to the youth with love. You express love and patience for them. Yeah, all the best music has come and gone in a lot of ways, but it'll come back. It'll come back. It'll come back. That's how we solve this problem that we're in right now. We solve it through taking it upon yourself to pass knowledge. You gotta instill value in these children, in these youth. I used to do it all the time in my last job. At my last job, when I had a day job working with kids, I would get the kid. My job knew whatever kid had the worst behavior, send them to Dewan. I got them. Every time I got them. Send the worst behaving kid to me, and I got them. And you know what I would do with those worst behaving kids? I would first find out what their behavior is. Why are you acting this way? Why are you missing class? What do you really, when you find out why the babies are missing class, why the youth, and you see what they doing, that'll give you a peak insight to where their talent is. So if you keep getting in trouble because you talk too much, like I used to get in trouble because I talk too much in class. You probably got a great career moving forward for you in talking. If you always getting in trouble for talking, if you're always getting in trouble for fighting, find out what that anger is. Enroll that kid in boxing, karate, somewhere, football, an outlet for them to get that aggression out. And then once that aggression gets out, you talk to them and find out the root of the anger. And usually the root of the anger is frustration and lack of knowledge and understanding of self and feeling out of place, feeling like you're not good enough, feeling like you're not smart enough. So if a kid feel like he's not good enough, not smart enough, I'm not going to just sit there as a kid and feel dumb. I'm going to do something to distract. I'm going to beat somebody up. I'm going to cuss out the teacher. I'm going to do these other things to distract to the fact that I don't feel good about myself. And there's other shit going on in my life that I can't control as a young kid. And it's going to express themselves in these other ways. You sit down and talk to these youngsters. Find out what's going on. And then once you sit down, talk to them, find out what's going on, you give these little niggas some game. You give them knowledge of self. You do what they ain't doing. And part of the reason why I teach, thank God I've been blessed enough to get somewhat of a platform. We got 554 people in here on YouTube. Make sure I get 554 likes, please. I say what I have to say. And for those of you watching later, because maybe you can take what I said, look me up, because everything I'm saying you can look up and find that's true. And then you teach that to the next person. We got over 500 people in here. If 500 people in here tell 5 people what we talked about today, just 2 or 3 of the inventions that we talked today, if all 500 tell that to some youth, tell that to somebody who didn't know, and spread, because it only takes a little bit. It only takes a little bit of truth to knock out a ton of lies. No different than washing dishes. When you have a sink full of dishwater and dishes, it's all water with just a few squeezes of dishwashing liquid. You don't need about this much dishwashing liquid to clean a whole sink of dirty dishes. Am I right? You only need this much truth and honesty and realness to clean all of the bullshit and lies. Because the advantage you have with the truth is the truth sticks to your ribs. It sustains itself. A lie must be told over and over and over and over again for it to become the truth. You cannot take your foot off the gas when it comes to lying. Because the minute you take your foot off the gas when it comes to lying, and you give people 5 minutes of their own goddamn thoughts, they gonna see right through your sorry ass lies. Solutions. But here's the issue with my solutions. And this is where I gotta get on the adults. Because most of you adults are full of shit. All the kids that I work with, I know. Most adults aren't willing to do this. Y'all want these kids to go, you let these kids raise themselves on goddamn Fortnite. You let these kids raise themselves on YouTube while you talking on the phone, while you doing this, these kids are left to their own devices and y'all don't really be engaging with these kids. Not all of y'all, but let the hit dogs holler. The only time you talk to the kids is about what's going on at school. You better get your grades up. Why ain't you listening? You do your homework? It's like some of y'all, the only time you can talk to your kids is when it's centered around a task. Take out the trash. Clean your room. Do your homework. Go to school. Go to church. And outside of that, you don't even talk to these kids. That's the problem. And that's why people like kids like IShowSpeed think the way that they think. Because the adults around them only talk to them when it's a task. You don't engage these little kids, these youngsters. People don't sit around and put game in these youngsters no more. I be watching y'all. I've worked with too many. Kids are around all these adults and ain't none of these adults putting game in them. This is a fact. Not all of y'all, but this is a fact. And then you got, and this is less with the women, more so with the guys. Man, these kids ain't this, man. I don't know what's wrong with this generation. This generation is soft. Well, was you around to make them tough? When little Johnny enrolled in basketball and it got difficult midway through the season, did you allow him to quit? Or did you tell little Johnny, no, you got to stay and finish what you start? What did you do? Did you let him quit? Or did you make little Johnny finish what he started? Were you even around for that decision to be made before you go around judging these kids? What's up, Quan Elisino? Appreciate y'all for joining. Get Buckets. Yeah, Get Buckets says, yeah, the algorithm raised, let's just tell the truth. Get Buckets is 100% right. The algorithm raised most of these kids. That's why I'm patient with the young. I'm not patient with adults. I don't like adults, people over 40, and you stupid, and you still in your 40s. I ain't got no patience for no stupid ass nigga in his 40s. But you in your 20s, man, I got time. I got anyone in here who's ever gotten a reading from me or inbox me, especially in your 20s. I get people in their late teens, 18, 19, 23, 24, 26. Man, when they reach out to me, man, I got all the time in the world for a young black man, a black woman in her early 20s. I got all the time in the world for that in the early 20s generation. Because I know y'all niggas wasn't raised on shit. I know the school system failed you, the entertainment system failed you, and most likely a lot of them adults around your life failed you. So when them people in under 30 come to me, man, I got all the time in the world. I got all the time in the world because you need it. Dora's 100% right. She said, too many adults buried in their phone to care today. Right. And that's exactly why I don't get too critical of the youngsters. Because I seen what these little niggas was raised under. I know. I seen it. Get frustrated sometimes. Because you young people, let's just tell the truth. A lot of people in their 2015s, 2020s, they dumbed in the motherfucker. I'm not going to lie. These niggas are stupid. They are. But that's not all they fault. They was raised in an education system that did not foster critical thought. They was raised taking multiple choice tests. No child left behind. They were raised on Common Core math. These kids, people in their 20s, y'all engineered to be dumb than a motherfucker. It's a few exceptions, but it's a lot of dumbass kids in their goddamn 20s and 30s. You motherfuckers in your 30s too, mid 35 and under, y'all all no child left behind babies. Most of y'all stupid as fuck. That's just what it is. I'm sorry, I'm from a different. My grandfather had the most influence on me when it comes to talking straight. I just call it like I see it. A lot of y'all dumb than a motherfucker. And the dumbness comes from you stupid when you don't want to listen. When niggas come in and you'll Google, they raised your generation to think that Google is a reliable resource. But come to me, I'm not going to judge you for being a little dumb motherfucker. I'm going to be patient with you. Because I know you was socially engineered to be a dumb motherfucker. I got a family member of mine graduated high school without being able to tell a manual clock. They only need the auto clock, like the clock with the handle, with the hands. I know. I have family that didn't know how to tell time from a traditional clock. Yeah, that's Common Core math. These kids are engineered to be stupid. They're giving these kids Common Core math. If you didn't have a parent or an adult that cared to help you unlearn what you learned at school, parents, like, y'all parents, that's why I want no fucking kids. Y'all gotta roll y'all sleeves up. It's like, to be a parent these days, you gotta spend as much time teaching your kids as they spent in school getting their head fucked up. We at least had critical. I remember at least taking some critical thinking classes. These kids don't have critical thinking. They don't get art to teach them how to be imaginative and creative. They don't get music and things like that to really cultivate and expand their minds. They're boxed in. Mogul may say, I looked at my pops because he had real estate in his own business. That's right. That's right. Yeah, they don't teach cursive. These kids are socially engineered to being stupid motherfuckers. Where does this stupid ass question come from? Somebody said, but didn't you say you have German ancestry as well? My skin is copper colored, you stupid motherfucker. Do you understand that you can't tell somebody's natural tone through a camera? This is what I mean by stupid. This motherfucker looking at me through a goddamn camera. Your skin ain't. Talk to somebody in the chat room who see me in person. My skin is copper colored. And let's go one step deeper. Germans, up until the last 200 years, were swarthy. This white German is a new thing. You think I'm lying? Let's go. NationalArchives.gov. Ben Franklin, 1751. What does he say? In part number 24. Which leads me to add one remark. The number of purely white people in the world is proportionally very small. All of Africa is black or tawny. Asia chiefly tawny. And so is America, exclusive of the newcomers, wholly so. In Europe, Spaniards, Italians, French, Russian, Swedes are what we call a swarthy complexion. See that? Probably too small for you to see. As are the Germans. In 1751, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, and Swedes were of a swarthy complexion. I get some dumb motherfucker always want to come up here thinking they teaching me something. You better sit your clown ass down and listen to DeJuan Brown when I'm talking. Never. Nigga said I'm not copper colored and he watching me through a goddamn web camera and I ain't even got my lights on. Fuck out of here. '80s and the '90s gave birth to 2000s behavior. Real talk, TY. Real talk. Yeah, I'm speaking that jive, B. Amos. Lucky Larry, if Larry's on the phone, I'll really be talking that jive. Come in here. Don't come in here with that bullshit. The Germanic word for black is swarthy. Thank you, Lynette Russell. That's right. Like, Artemis said, come in here with scholarship, not feelings, or shut the fuck up. I believe. See, a lot of you niggas is used to people who give out information being nice, like your elementary school teacher. Oh, no, it's okay. Let him be a dumbass. No. I got to get ready for my comedy show that's coming Saturday at the Hidden History Museum. The tickets are, for the most part, damn near sold out. It's like going to be packed like a motherfucker in here. It might be a couple more tickets left for y'all that want to come to the Hidden History Museum this coming Saturday. Hidden History Museum this coming Saturday. I ain't really been pushing that hard because I got a lot of people coming. This shit's about to be packed. It's about to be packed for the Fall Funny Fest at the Hidden History Museum. I booked all the comics. Jay Jimerson said he gonna be in town. Salute to my mod, Jay Jimerson. He gonna be in town from Fort Worth at the museum. I got my man Sidney Castillo coming up. Trina, y'all saw Trina on. If you ever seen 5150, you saw Trina. She funny as hell. My boy Brandon Wiley. I got Scroncho come. I called Scroncho earlier this morning to confirm he gonna be there. And Larry bitch ass is flying in from Texas to be on the show too. So you can see me if y'all want to see me whoop Larry's ass. Be there this coming Saturday. If y'all want to see me whoop Larry's ass, I'll be there. It won't be too much of a fight. I put that nigga to sleep in less than 6.6 seconds. You dig? For Us Films. That's my man Hassan. He helped me put this together. All my shit. Go over to Incense and Ashtrays on YouTube. My mods are putting it in the chat. The link is also in the description. Subscribe to Incense and Ashtrays. Watch both videos that we have up. We need ours up so we can get monetized over there. So it's not no commercials over there. It ain't monetized. So y'all need to go ahead and watch. My first documentary is Bigger Than Hip Hop, the Black American Music Family Tree, and also catch my interview with Miss Berta Bell, the creator of the term lowrider. And we're going to have more interviews with her coming up and other artists. Yeah, teach that clown he need to shut up and straighten that frown. That's goddamn right. I miss Brother Panic. Talk that sass. I miss Brother Panic. Rest in peace, Brother Panic, man. He was a true treasure and a light to earth. Rest in peace to the ancestor, Brother Panic, man. I really liked him. Now his videos been taken down. But salute to Brother Panic, man. One of our greats. Bobby Hemmett, all of those. He's up. I don't know if Bobby Hemmett's still alive. Bobby Hemmett's brother, Ali Hemmett, used to come in the chat. I haven't seen Ali around in a while. Ali Hemmett, if you still around, hit me up. All right? We about to end this right now. Just know that, look, we are in the process of learning, of unlearning and relearning who we are. That's what happens when you've been under what we've been under for a few hundred years. You got to unlearn and you got to relearn, and that's what we are. And in the meantime, let these tethers go to war with each other. They don't belong in where they need to be. The same way MAGA's going at it. MAGA's going at each other. MAGA's fighting like a motherfucker. They fighting each other, and they fighting the liberals. The tethers are now starting to fight each other. Black folks, let's stay out of all these fights, and let's just keep learning who we are, getting our game better, getting our shit right. Because we can't control the rest of that nonsense. All right? Learn. And grow. And be better today than you was yesterday. That's right, Jay Deshaun. These are not our people. They're not our problem. So T Dynamite. And also go to Patreon. Patreon, the show I did yesterday is up on Patreon, the full version. Whenever I do shows full of music and I got to take the music out, those always get uploaded to Patreon with the music. starting in 2 weeks, starting in 10 days, my complete history of R&B is going to be up. We're going to start doing that on Sundays. This coming Saturday at 10 a.m. on Patreon, on the reading level and higher, we're going to do some reads. I was going to read Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, but we're going to do that on Saturday on the reading level. Patreon is cracking. It's a whole music university. Also, it has the readings and all that stuff too. So make sure that y'all sign up for that, all right? Thank y'all again for listening. Remember, there are no perfect messengers. Only perfect messages for those willing to pick up the game. We out.